No one will ever be able to convince me that this genetic mutated group of humans are born with a soul. The white humans who are exceptional, I'm pretty sure they have something in their DNA. And yes, I know a lot of good white humans, but most of them have something a little sprinkled down the line from generations ago. USA is proof that the genetic mutated group of humans are not born with a soul. This country could be literally what we advertise it to be if white humans were good people and had souls. But it looks like they don't, because this country is perpetually in shit because of white humans. White humans make it stagnant. White humans keep it mediocre. White humans commit the most atrocities in this country, yet white humans don't hold other white humans accountable. And that's why I say you will never ever be able to convince me that white humans are born with a soul. They were not born with a soul.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to my YouTube space. White lady sparks outrage after saying white people have no souls because of what they are doing to black people, because of the each and every activities going on in the white America. He gave example. Now, what happens when someone from inside the house break the silence? What happens when we are getting the insider talking about these issues? They will not say that it is us. They will not say that black people are talking. No, this one is coming direct from the mouth of a white lady. Recently, a white woman created a video on social media, not for the usual performative allyship, not for hashtag activism, but for saying something raw and something that cut deep. She said this: white people have no souls because of the killings they have done, because of what they have done to black people, because of everything they are doing. And just like that, outrage erupted. Social media exploded. People are furious. As I said, he might or she might lose her race. Now, here is the question that I'm going to ask. Why did that statement strike such a nerve? Because I've seen a lot of people talking about that. Now, I said I'm not an exception. I have to talk about it. Today, we are not just talking about what she said. We are talking about what it means, what it reveals, and why so many people are terrified of this truth. But before I go down onto this video, I want you to watch this clip. After watching it, we'll come back here and talk about it.
No one will ever be able to convince me that this genetic mutated group of humans are born.
Yeah, we don't have any power right now. Had a bad storm last night, a lot of tornado warnings. Anyway, only thing I can think of to say to this video is the nerve. Sitting here in 4K, making this jackassy video, talking about an entire group of people as if they're a monolith. There's a word for that, by the way. While looking whiter than I do. Can someone fucking explain that shit to me? Math's not mathing. And yet y'all try daily to convince me that you can't be racist to white people. Okay.
No one will ever be able to convince me that this genetic mutated group of humans are born.
Guess who's back? We're back again. No. Y'all ain't getting away with this. Listen, the reason why white people do all the shit that they do is because nobody holds them accountable for it. Nobody. The white man can get on TV and talk about China all day, say they bring viruses and everything else, and the Chinese will bow so hard to them that their backs will snap. They can say that, oh, Hispanics aren't bringing their best. We need to kick them out and build a wall. And you'll have Hispanics literally hit Latinos for Trump, right? The white man or the YT man can literally say that Indians publicly defecate in the streets, right? And make fun of them. But then they'll come over here and change their name to Nikki Haley or Kamala Harris. The Africans, oh, they over here trying to get rid of Tory, but you'll roll the red carpet out for them. Ghana's giving them citizenship. They see what's happening in South Africa. They see what's happening in Burkina Faso. And they're like, we need to give them citizenship because the whole world literally drops down on their knees and blows these people. There's an entire Oxford study where Michael B. Jordan would have a harder time getting a Korean girl or a Chinese girl or an Asian girl in general than Homer Simpson. A YT dude that looks like Homer Simpson. He could be 65 with a thumb-sized penis, and he'll be able to pull the baddest Asian chicks. Meanwhile, Michael B. Jordan would be over there getting called monkeys and all kind of stuff. The only reason why they showed I Show Speed all of that love is because of the size of his platform. So no, the YT man isn't the only one guilty here. All of y'all are. The only group of people on the planet that have consistently called out the YT man unapologetically has been the so-called Black American. We're the only ones from the very beginning like, yo, these people is really not what it is. These people really destroying everything. Native Americans, oh, you guys are erasing our culture by calling yourselves Indians. Y'all literally invite the YT man who you claim stole your land and marched y'all on the Trail of Tears to the powwow. Y'all give him roll. You know how many YT people got Cherokee cards? They got more YT Cherokees than Jeep owners. So the fact that y'all sitting there talking about the YT man is how did these people get this powerful? You, look, Black Americans, so-called Black Americans, we do not have any nuclear bombs. We do not have a military. We don't even have a nation. We're the only people on the planet that are homeless. You could say, well, y'all African. Where? If I go to anywhere in Africa right now, I have to check in with their immigration. I have to go through their citizenship process. Regardless, even if I have a DNA test that says I'm from Cameroon or I'm from Nigeria, I can't just walk in there and be like, hey, what's up, y'all? I'm home. I got to go check in. I got to make sure I know their laws, their constitution, their flag song. I had no part in creating. That ain't our home anyway. But the point is that I can't just walk into anywhere in Africa and just be like, I'm African now. No, I have to go in there and swear in and sign papers and spend money and get permits. You know how I know this? I have businesses all over the world. I have a business in the Philippines. I have 2 in America, and I have 1 in Estonia. And the reason why I have a business in Estonia is because it gives me access to European grant money. The reason I have 1 in the Philippines, it gives me access to ASEAN grant money. The reason I have 2 in America is 1 is a nonprofit, the other one is a for-profit. I take my for-profit gains, donate them to my nonprofit, and then boom, tax. Anyway, that's a whole different scenario. I ain't gonna go into that. But anyway, what I'm telling you is that the only group of people who are homeless have no military. We have no uniform. We have no. We don't even have a flag song. We got a few the so-called FBA flags, but none of them are officially recognized. We don't have a passport that says Black American, copper-colored, Hebrew Israelite, Yahushua, none of that. We're the only people who are literally nomads in this planet, and we're the only ones consistently saying, "Hey, these people need to be checked." And yet, y'all are just hating. Slavery was a long time ago. Until it comes to your doorstep. Until your African leaders are getting knocked over or having 20 attempts on them. Or until your Chinese people are all of a sudden shop shutting down because nobody's buying your stuff because they blockaded you. Or until Indian immigration is being shut down. All of y'all, they had Indians building shrines for Trump. And now they kicking y'all out by the droves. Until your YT boyfriend leave your little Asian behind, and next thing you know, he calling you all kind of names and derogatory names, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, where did this come from? Nobody holds them accountable. And so I don't blame them for their behavior. Just imagine if you could wake up, go steal everybody's shit, whoop their ass, smash they women who run to you. They roll out the red carpet, and nobody ever says, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not right. And then those with the power to say that's not right sit back and say, well, no problem, so we ain't gonna say nothing. Y'all love that skin so much. Y'all love that illusion so much that it's consuming you. And I can't wait until it digests y'all the way it did us. But here's the difference. We've survived them. Y'all don't have the makeup that we have. Y'all don't have the resilience that we have. Which is why, despite everything they've done, from having us swinging from trees like Christmas tree ornaments, to dragging us behind trucks, to feeding our babies to alligators, we still smile, we still create new dances, we still try to build, we still try to do the best we can, and y'all will sit there and talk about black on black crime, and y'all so ghetto and ratchet. Why? Most of those ghetto and ratchet people are tethers. And I'm gonna do a line on that. A lot of those people y'all see on those videos on TikTok and stuff like that, pretending to be us, ain't even us. It's people from the Caribbean, from Jamaica, people from Africa, pretending to be us. Y'all don't even know. LeBron James is not even a foundational Black American. Kobe was. Michael Jordan was. Notice the difference. Kai Cenat is not a foundational Black American. If I go through the list of people who are not, Cardi B is not a foundational Black American. Candace Owens is not a foundational Black American. The majority of Barack Obama was not a foundational Black American. Neither was Kamala Harris. What I mean by foundational is actually Black Americans. These were people from other places that were pretending to be us. Most of your talking heads that speak on our behalf are not us. They look like us. They're not us. And I can prove it. I can show you their genealogy. Oh, I've been working lately. Y'all have no idea why I've been so quiet. For one, I've been running my businesses. And it's been a lot of work, man. But number two, I've also been writing like crazy. I have 4 people I send all my writings to. One of them is a Black Jew. I mean, he's a Black dude that grew up Jewish. The second one is a Black Muslim. The third one is a Black Christian pastor. And the fourth one is Black agnostic. But he's from Rome. He lives in Rome. The reason why I send my writings to them is because I break down a lot of the Greek. I break down a lot of the Hebrew. And I break down a lot of the scripture. My blogs are insane, but I only send it to these 4 people. And the reason why is because they can never agree on anything. And so if they agree with one of my blogs, then that means it's on point. And that's my litmus test. But trust me, I have a blog called Thy Hidden Ones. I've only got 2 posts up, but I got about 18 posts baking, waiting for their feedback. But I've only got 2 officially up right now. But don't worry, more is coming. But I'm just here to say, man, go watch her video. Go watch her video and see what she's saying. And what she's saying is literally enablement. Y'all enabled this. You enabled these people to behave like this. Nobody has ever checked them. So don't cry about it now. I hope you feel the full pressure of the boot on your neck like we did. And I hope it crushes your windpipe like George Floyd. That's all I got to say about that. Shalom, shalom.
I'm going to talk about white people selling their souls. So hear me out. This one's going to be kind of a long one. And please tell me what I get. Oh my God, my lips are so dry. Wrong in the comments, because I probably will. In doing ancestral work, I've come to realize that my ancestors understand the fact that they are traitors to humanity at large. What does that mean? Let's do some history. The easiest one for me to talk about is this red hair right here. If you didn't already know, in the last 100+ years, Irish people were not considered part of whiteness here in the United States. Now, I want to make it clear before I continue that this is not an invitation to feel like we're still oppressed, because we're absolutely not, which we'll get into later. You'll come to find in most of my videos, I like blaming the Roman Empire for like everything, and it's because I'm human and I want to blame somebody, but so let's start there. There were the Celts, which is a huge umbrella term for a whole bunch of indigenous tribes. We've lost a lot of that knowledge. And they lived in the mid to upper part of Europe. Slowly but surely, the Romans continued squashing them further and further up. And during that process, they did this thing called assimilation. Our ancestors fought for hundreds of years to not lose their history, their culture, their practices. But the Romans understood the power of belief systems and understood how to enact spiritual warfare / just psychological warfare on humans. And so they culturally appropriated a lot of the belief systems that they held and started infusing it with their own. And slowly but surely it kind of murkied the waters. And so now, instead of being Druids, we're Catholic and Christian. And again, our ancestors fought for hundreds and hundreds of years not to lose touch with their soul. And there is grace that can be given to our ancestors. They were doing it out of genuine fear and physical violent repercussions. But nevertheless, they sold out and assimilated. And we still see the repercussions of this today in Ireland. The languages are mostly gone. The practices were mostly word of mouth, as most indigenous groups are. And it almost feels impossible to reconnect with that because we've lost so much. And this is why I have beef with New Age spirituality. in a lot of ways. I find that there are a lot of white people within New Age spirituality who have qualms with the fact that there are different indigenous tribes that are like, hey, these are closed practices, or hey, can you not do that like that? And I think on the side of white people, the thing is that it's unprocessed and integrated shadow work that needs to be done. Because I think the block there is this idea that like, oh, well, we've been through this and we're fine. And just an overall ignorance to our own history and what has happened to our own spiritual practices. You're so drawn to these indigenous practices because they do call to your past. But the responsibility we have to take as people that are in white bodies is the fact that we have been pre-programmed with assimilation. And so deconstructing that does not actually lead you to appropriating other people's practices, but actually leads you back to your own practices. And so I kind of find it a red flag when I see white people doing that. Not to say that we can't share cultures, but if you're going to go to an ayahuasca ceremony and it's facilitated by a white woman, that is not something that you want to continue perpetuating, in my opinion. Just like men are more likely to listen to other men say things, we as white people are more likely to listen to other white people say things. And so if you're inside of a spiritual community that you feel like is appropriating other cultures instead of focusing in on their own, I think it's imperative that we start steering people back to our own ancestral cultures. I'm gonna make another part to this because there's actually like so much to say about white people selling their souls.
Let me tell you something, guys. Did you know that there are people who are born without a soul? This is not, most people who seem to be evil, who seem like so heartless, most of them lose their souls as they move on in life. Maybe something happens to them in childhood and they start losing their soul. Something happens to their soul and they become so cold. There are people who are actually born without a soul. They are just body and mind, and inside is just void. And if you ever encounter them, you will feel it. You feel it because getting close to them, you just feel how cold they are. Even before they speak, you can feel they don't have warmth.
Without further ado, we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into this video.
This video right here is about no soul, people not having souls. Now, there's two aspects to this. Some people are actually not humanoids or melanated-like beings, and they don't exist past this dimension, so they don't come to this dimension or realm with a soul. So, for example, Caucasians, 85% of Caucasians are born with calcified pineal glands. The pineal gland is an organ which allows the head of the soul to take a seat in the vehicle, which is the body. By them not having having calcified pineal glands, their bodies cannot inhabit a soul. So that is one aspect of a person not having a soul, or an entity not having a vehicle that inhabit a soul, so they just walk around like zombies on the physical realm. But the aspect I'm using is how people, specifically melanated beings, can come into existence with a soul and end up without one. Now the point I'm about to make here is environment. The definition of an environment is the circumstances which influence a living organism. Now, before I go on, I have to give you a perspective. We understand that we are not these bodies. We are the souls that inhabit these bodies. So you have to stop looking at the construct as you're a body with a soul. No, you're a soul with a body. So with that being said, you are the controller of the physical realm. Now what happens is when the physical realm becomes overwhelming with negative phenomena, the soul can no longer want to take place in that experience and eject. Now an example I'm going to give you of this is you have people who go through such life traumatic situations that they actually disconnect from themselves. Now before I break that down, I'm going to give you the connection. The emotional body is the middle. It's the medium. So the emotional body connects your physical body to your spiritual body. So now when you look at most people who do sick, twisted things, they all have one thing in common. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't have an emotional body. Why? Because their soul is disconnected. So they can't feel nothing. So now, before I go on to my point, the Caucasian teaches you that through his patrilineal system or his over-emasculated egotistical system that men don't be emotional. Men don't cry. don't hold your girl hand in public. Don't do anything that will invoke love and emotion. Why? Because that keeps the spirit out the body. Because if you're not emotionally present and you don't know that the emotion is like a meter to let you know that your soul is here, then you won't know. You won't never try to get yourself present in this realm because you've been disconnected. Now, I'm not saying go outside and act like a female or be homosexual. It's everything has balance. But what I'm saying is there is a certain level of emotional stability that everybody should attain, because that lets you know if how present you are here in this body. Now, going back to my point, let's say a little girl or a little boy has been molested or touched when they was kids or their whole life. We all grew up in hellish house homes. Now, with that being said, you can go through something so traumatizing that you blank out. That you do what we call blank out. Your soul disconnect. It doesn't want to be here. So you physically going through the motions, but spiritually, you gone. Because it's just like an airplane that's finna crash. Well, just like when you know that a bad experience is coming, you hit eject. And you let the plane go through its phase. Same thing with the body. The soul, if the soul is put into a negative experience that it's not strong enough to handle, and your mind of the individual is not strong enough to handle, the soul will eject and disconnect itself. And now the lowest part of the mind, which is the physical realm or the physical existence, that will be the only thing left to go through the experience. This is why you have people, this is the point of when they say somebody's mentally dead. You're not really mentally dead. It's just your soul is not present. You're not conscious. It's like when people walk up the street and they be on the phone. They're so focused in the phone. They're not conscious. They're not present. And you walk right into something and you be like, damn, I didn't even see that. And it was right there. Because your body's on autopilot. But all your consciousness is focused somewhere else. This is the same thing with a traumatic experience. Your consciousness goes somewhere else. And now your body and you just going through life on autopilot. So now coming back to my point. The way people come through the world with no souls is, end up with no souls, melanated beings, is we go through the most traumatic mental, physical, and emotional and spiritual abuse than anybody else on the planet. And some of us are not strong enough to withstand this abuse because we shouldn't be going through it anyway. So what happens is we disconnect from ourselves, and then we grow up what people will call heartless. And then you end up with little 13, 14-year-old, 15-year-old boys out here killing people in cold blood, or little girls out here having sex with everybody and don't care about themselves and call themselves bad bitch because they became heartless because their soul is not present anymore. So since the soul is not there, the emotional body is not connecting, because the emotional body is just gravitation on a metaphysical scale to let you know what you're experiencing, because you're the soul. So it's like, kind of think of like the Iron Man suit. Your body is the Iron Man suit. So like if somebody does something to you, the soul processes that through, let's say if I tell you shut up, that wasn't right. So now the soul knows, okay, anger. Or if I tell you I love you, now the soul is feeling that. The soul experiences that through the physical realm through love. So the emotions are just like signals to let the soul know what it is experiencing at that current time in the physical body. So now when you go through something so traumatic, your soul might say, I don't want to experience that. So it disconnects, it ejects. And now it leaves the lowest level of its own consciousness here to experience that. And what most of us don't understand by not knowing the science is we forget to come back in the damn body. So now you got 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old people who have been disconnected from themselves since they was 15, 16 because their stepfather molested them, or they got beat up and something happened to them, or something happened to them so traumatic, or you got little girls who I've seen personally, you grow up in a house, they 10, 12, 11, mom telling them bitch this, bitch that, you calling your own daughter a bitch, and you putting them through hell, you kicking them out, son, you kick your son out, feed him to the wolves, and you put your child through so much trauma, or don't care, or you got people who just live in a household that's so hellish that they disconnect. And now they 20, 30, 40, and they never actually reconnected with themselves. And now they lost. And when we look at the black community, most people are so lost because it is in our very households that is stimulating such evil that is causing us to disconnect. And then we go out into the world already not present just from a household that we grew up in. So the Bible ain't going to teach you this. It's not going to save you. Doctrines are not going to save you. You have to understand who you are in order to save yourself. You have to be able to look on a situation and say, damn, that's what happened to me. And that's why I really don't give a fuck about nothing. When you look at kids, most black teenagers, they don't want to go to school. They don't want to do nothing but sit around and smoke weed all day. They fucking like rabbits. And they don't care about nothing. You can't tell them nothing. They don't want to hear it. Why? Because it's not what you telling them they don't care about. It's they have been through so much traumatic shit, physically, mentally, and emotionally, that nobody else has cared about or even sat down to think about, that they have disconnected from this realm. So now you're talking to them and you breaking your neck to get them the vision and see what they need to do. And you just like, I don't understand why my son don't get it. I don't understand why my daughter don't get it. They don't see they going down the wrong path. Because they're not even present. They don't even care. Their soul is so gone that they become what you call hard-hearted. They don't give a fuck about nothing. Why? Because they don't even realize they're not even conscious in their bodies because of the environment you put them in or you allowed them to experience. So now the point is, an environment, once again, is the circumstances which influence a living organism. The body, the woman who is God, is a portal. The womb of the woman is just a portal for the soul to come into the physical existence of this realm. So now we have to set up environments that cater to melanated beings so that the soul will want to be present. For example, when you watch my videos, you don't feel like, oh my God, I don't want to watch this, or why y'all making me watch that. You can't wait till you get some information because you want to be here, because this is for the soul. This is for you. So the point I'm trying to make is when you go to school, most people like me, I go to sleep in class, I don't care. I don't pay attention. It's boring because you don't want to be there because it's not for your soul. It's teaching you lies, and subconsciously you know this. So the point I'm trying to make is when something is conducive and constructive for the soul wants to be present. Now, as a melanated being, the Caucasian colonizing all around the planet has made the world unpositive to you. White supremacy teaches that you're inferior. Education, Western civilization teaches that you're inferior. The food that you eat makes you out of shape, and it makes you physically not attracted to yourself. TV is white people everywhere. White people win all the awards. They just so beautiful. They everything. It has made, the Caucasian has created a fictitious mental paradigm that to be a black person in this world is inferior on emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual levels. So now some people are not strong enough to handle that, and they don't want to be present. They disconnect from the world. Some people are scared of peace.
Welcome back. You have seen the video, you have seen the reactions, and I've featured a number of videos there talking about the soul. Now, in the first video that I played you, the woman speaks with emotion and clarity. She's white, and she says that after seeing centuries of how white people treat black people, after seeing how the country of America is treating the people, from slavery to police brutality to the casual racism of everyday life, she can't help but believe that white people collectively do not have soul, or they have lost their souls. Now, let's be real. That is a bit heavy, because if it was coming from a black person, outrage could be so much. And most people, especially white people, couldn't handle that. I have seen in the comment section, they have called her unhinged. They said she was promoting hate. Others dismissed her as mentally unstable. I have seen in the comment section the comments of some white people. But here is what is interesting. Many black people didn't disagree. In fact, some said, finally, someone said it. Others commented saying that the folks that need to hear this will not hear it. Now, that shows me how we have so different views in coming to this discussion, because the oppressor will not like it and the oppressee will be like someone from inside have said it. And when she said white people have no souls, she didn't just say they did bad things. Of course, she said there is a lot of good white people, very good people. Even me, I concur with her. There's a lot of good white people, and we have come across it. Even you who are watching this video, if you are black, you have come across good white people. But the system at large, the system carry the whole people, because most of the white people are living under this privilege. Most of the white people are surviving because of the system that is oppressing black people, the system that is eliminating other people. This lady, she didn't say that racism was a problem. She didn't point to us to anything. She said something deeper, that whiteness itself, it's spiritually empty because of the relationship to black suffering. That's what she said. And it is so deep. Now, why is that so much triggering? Because for centuries, whiteness has framed black people as inferior, that as dangerous, as less intelligent, I've had videos where white people, some are saying they're more intelligent than black people because of one or two things. It has placed white people as dangerous and less moral or even less human. But now someone flipping the script, saying that real spiritual corruption lies within the whiteness itself. It is not just about guilty, it's about identity. And she wasn't talking about policy, she was talking about the soul. And that's what made people panic. In the comment section, you could see that. Now, let's back up this with history, because as I talk to you, I love going with history. If you ask me, why are you supporting her? I will back myself up with history. Now, because this wasn't just an emotional rant, she was reacting to a legacy that has been there for so long. Let's start with the transatlantic slave trade. Centuries of kidnapping, torture, unpaid labor, and stolen lives, all rationalized, all normalized. It was normal to do all these things. We came colonization, where entire nation, entire continent was looted, culture destroyed, people, separated, and native people dehumanized. After that, it came Jim Crow law, segregation, mass incarceration, and today, black communities still face underfunded schools, police violence, environmental racism, and general poverty. When we say white people have no souls, or when she says white people have no souls, she's not being dramatic, she's reflecting on history of cruelty and a present that still echoes with the same disregarded for back life. Nothing has really changed. The system is just changing clothes, because those who took people into slavery are the same people, but doing it in a different way. Those who colonized black people are the same people, but just doing it in different styles. Now, here is where things get uncomfortable. Things are getting hot here. White society is addicted to innocence. It needs to believe, or they always believe, they are good people. Good guy, the hero, the civilizer. And that's why so many white people lose their minds or their temper when they are being called out. That's why white people, some of them are saying they have black fatigue, because they are tired of being called out. Not all white people, don't get me wrong, not all white people. Some of them, they focus on their feelings instead of the harm being discussed. When you talk about discrimination, they focus on their feeling instead of focusing on the harm discrimination brought. And this lady, she broke that circle. She didn't defend herself. She didn't beg for distance. She didn't say, but I'm one of the good ones. She said it all how it is. She said we are not good. We are not innocent, and something is deeply broken in our community or in our country, how we are treating people. And that's what scared people. Not the anger, but the honesty of this white lady. I'm so happy to come across this video because, it has given me chills. Let's talk about the idea of the soul, because it's the soul here that is matter. To have the soul is to feel. I've played videos where someone's saying when you come near someone who have no soul, you feel kind of cold. To have a soul is to feel, to emphasize, to be human, to see another person pain and care. What do you call a group of people that can catch, or what do we call a group of people that can watch George Floyd die and still defend the officer? What do we call that person that can put his knee on the neck of someone tapping and calling out, but he doesn't care about it? What do you call a society that ignores mass incarceration, school segregation, racial wealth gap, and just keeps on living like nothing is wrong? That's not just a policy failure, that is a moral failure. And if a society feels the pain, or if the society can't feel the pain, if it can't cure, or if it can't care, what does we say about the soul? That's what that woman was getting at. And a lot of people knew she wasn't lying. Even those who commented negatively, they knew she wasn't lying. She's telling the truth about the soul. She's not trying to portray them bad. No, she's telling the reality. You are doing these bad things and you don't even feel anything? Do you have kind of soul? Now, let's get into double standard, because white people said that she was being racist for generalizing, but isn't that what white society does every single day to black people? Black people are profiled as a group. Black people or black neighborhood are policed as a group. Black students are punished as a group. But the second one speaks, or the second someone speaks about whiteness, collectiveness, now it is unfair. If you talk about white people in general, it is unfair. There's not, that's not about justice. That's about fragility. That's about white people refusing to be seen the way they have always been seeing others. That's about white people not wanting to be called out. This woman broke the unbroken or unspoken rule. Never speak about whiteness with the same honesty used to judge blackness. And that's why there's an outrage. That's why some white people felt it. But was what she said extreme? Maybe. But maybe extreme honesty is what we need. Because if white people do have souls, then it is time to start acting like it. If white people do have souls, let's see, start acting like it is. It is time to stop hiding behind guilty, behind denial, stop hiding behind fragility. It is time to listen. It is time to unite. It is time to confront. It is time to change. Call up your system. Call out them, because no one loses their soul all at once. It happens choice by choice, silence by silence, injustice by injustice. And if you want it back, you have got to fight for it. If you got value from the commentary, hit the like button, share button to the people you think they need to hear this message. If this video is good for you, tell me in the comment section. Do you think what that lady said is fair? Do you think white people have a soul, or the white America have a soul? Tell me what you think on the comment section. Thank you for watching. Stay aware, stay bold, and never stop seeking truth. Until next episode, peace out.